Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. In this program, we'll bring you news, sports, community talk, story of the day, economic indicators, as well as the weather forecast. I am Ashwin Berry. Now in the news tonight, investors in a pyramid scheme currently find themselves in limbo after the Bank of Namibia froze assets to the tune of approximately 10 million Namibian dollars last Friday. The central bank was able to secure a judgment in its favor through High Court Judge Marlene Thomasi. Investors in the Retribuet Stitera private investment scheme are now unable to withdraw funds from the scheme run by one Ruan Smith, who started receiving funds from the public on March 2015 with as much as 35 million Namibian dollars passing through funds in his name, according to an answering affidavit by the Bank of Namibia. Now in our next story, Health Minister Kalumbi Shangula said Namibia has made great strides in addressing tuberculosis as a public health concern, reaching treatment success rates of 88% in 2021. This, Shangula said, means the country is just 2% short of reaching the World Health target of 90% for all forms of TBs and a 75% treatment success rate for patients with drug-resistant tuberculosis, which surpassed the WHO target. He made these remarks during the commemoration of the World Tuberculosis Day at Onayena in Oshikoto region on Friday. In our next story, the head of Namibian Police K9 Training Subdivision, Chief Inspector Felix Munyanya, says their working dogs have been involved in a number of successful operations over the years. NAMPO's K9 unit has been in existence since independence and has 29 working dogs countrywide. They are employed in either the Drug Law Enforcement Unit, Explosive Control Division, or in tracking and patrolling. The average police dogs cost NAMPO between 70 to 80,000 Namibian dollars, and the canines often have to work longer than they actually should. NAMPO has spent 2 million Namibian dollars on buying police dogs from South Africa in the past 11 years. Moving on, Duisib Guest Farm, situated on the edge of Namib Desert, was conned by a group of travelers who stayed in this historic castle without paying. On Tuesday last week, 2 couples and 2 children arrived at the Duisib Guest Farm at 3:30 p.m. in a white Volkswagen Amarok double cab Haki with a Gauteng registration number. When they left early the next morning, owner Rolene Frank Schultz discovered the EFT proof of payment they provided was fake. She calls on other hospitality businesses to be on the lookout for scammers so they too do not fall victim. Now, a 40-year-old man from Windhoek who is accused of raping a 14-year-old girl appeared in the Windhoek Magistrates Court on Friday before Magistrate Ivan Gawanab, who granted him bail of 6,000 Namibian dollars. Prosecutor Rowan van Veek opposed bail because of the seriousness of the charge, the possibility that the accused could interfere with witnesses, the risk that he could flee to South Africa, and the strong evidence that the state has against him. Now, Fourie's legal representative, Mr. Johan van Vuren, however, argued that his client, Mr. Etienne Fourie, had no reason to flee as his family is in Namibia and he does not currently have a valid passport. Now, in the last of our top stories, the Lichtenstrasse murder trial continued today in the High Court in Windhoek, where first Mr. Eckhart Mueller's daughter, Mrs. Dietlinde Jacobs, took the stand. Next was Mr. Skumbi, a previous colleague of Lichtenstrasse's, who elucidated to an incident where he bumped into Lichtenstrasse at Agra in Tsumeb weeks before the murders. Now, Lichtenstrasse supposedly said to Skumbi, Hellich and Mueller are responsible for all that is going down. He should either retire or be taken out, one in the stomach and one in the head. Reading about the murders on social media the evening of the murders, Skumbi immediately remembered the incident at Agra Tsumeb and texted the police informing them that he thought Lichtenstrasse was the shooter. The trial continues. Now in community news tonight, we look at the Special Needs Athletics Day in Walvish Bay and how dolls help dementia sufferers. Stay with us.
Have you received a loan from NASFAF? NASFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NASFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NASFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NASFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag payback the money.
Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Let's get into your community talk stories. Walvish Bay Child and Family Center and Promised Land on Saturday held a Sunshine Special Needs Athletics Day at the Walvish Bay Primary School. Nicanor Nangola spoke to Luzao Lestrade, who is the executive director of the organization. Have a look.
Die nie-regeringsorganisasies Walvis Bay Child and Family Center en Promised Land het Saterdag 'n Sunshine Special Needs Atletiekdag gehou by die laerskool Walvis Bay. Hierdie is spesiaal vir kinders met spesiale behoeftes. Nicanor Nangola van ons Erongo kantoor was daar om van die pret vas te vang.
Sunshine, ons is 'n disability NGO hier in die dorp en al 26 jaar in bestaan en dis vandag ons eerste interreis atletiek, so ons is baie opgewonde oor dit. So ons het verskillende items, ons het 60, 80 meter, 100 meter relay, 'n paar veld items, 'n bietjie boeresport, stalletjies wat ons wil hê die gemeenskap moet vir ons kom ondersteun. So ons is baie opgewonde vandag. Ons het twee spanne. Ons het die Dolphin span is nou Blouies en die rooi span is die Eagles. En dan het ons ook Promised Land genooi. So hulle is deel van die verrigtinge vandag. Hulle het ook spannetjies ingeskryf van ons items. En dan het ons ook 'n paar van Emmanuel Reiter se kinders wat spesiale behoeftes het, wat ook hier by ons vandag is.
Nou, kom het julle gevoel om die atletiek te doen?
Dit is baie belangrik vir ons kinders om ook die gewone goed te doen wat ander skole aanbied. So dit is vir hulle so opgewonde. Ons het trompoppies ook hier gehad vandag. Daar's soveel dinge wat ons vir ons kinders net expose. Ons wil vir hulle dieselfde geleenthede gee wat ander kinders hê. Ons wil hê hulle moet net weg almal moet vergeet van hulle daar by Sunshine. Ons wil deel wees van die gemeenskap en dit is hoekom ons ook baie dankbaar is vir meneer Tron by Laerskool Walvis Bay wat vir ons hierdie pragtige veld gegee het om vandag te gebruik. Hulle het regtig baie vir ons gegee en baie gedoen vandag. En daar so baie van die ander mense in die gemeenskap wat ook nader gekom het en vir ons kom help vandag.
It truly takes a village. Now, Alzheimer's and dementia go hand in hand, but research shows that certain dolls can help sufferers tremendously. Jareen Hoff reports.
Worldwide, research has shown that dolls and soft toys hold therapeutic benefits for dementia sufferers. Researchers say that the feeling of holding a doll or soft toy can be soothing, since it may remind sufferers of a time when they were young or had children and pets of their own. Caring for a doll or soft toy can also give people with dementia a renewed sense of purpose and help them connect with the outside world. This could have an impact on their energy, activity levels, and moods, research shows. The Frail Care Association in Henties Bay, which opened its doors in 2008, currently houses 49 residents, 24 of whom are dementia sufferers. According to nursing manager Sister Rena Erasmus, Frail Care started giving babies to residents with dementia 2 years ago. She said, "We read the research that recommended it. The reaction to the dolls differs from person to person and depends on the level of the person's dementia. However, they do recognize their dolls and each has his or her own. They have a grandmother who is 103 years old and she has 2 dolls, a son and a daughter, and both must always be with her. She makes sure of it," Sister Erasmus said. She added that one resident named her doll after her daughter and she decided for herself how old her doll is. Another reason why therapy dolls are beneficial, according to research, is that they can bring back happy memories of early parenting for both men and women. Many older adults enjoy rocking their dolls and giving hugs. Some even adopt the baby as their own and make its care part of their daily routine. Having a child to take care of can also relieve feelings of isolation and sadness. People generally find that their mood lightens and their nerves settle when they interact with babies. Knitted dolls are not popular among dementia sufferers. They prefer pretty clothed dolls or those that look lifelike. Frail Care cannot provide soft toys to patients because they do not have enough of these at their disposal. People who have dolls or soft toys that they or their children no longer use can donate them to Frail Care to possibly give a dementia sufferer a new purpose.
Truly powerful. Now, our story of the day looks at the city of Windhoek ending free water supplies after 2 years. More after the break.
Choose your flex package with Paratus today. Sign up for ultra-fast fiber with the convenience of mobile LTE. That's 2 products in 1 bundle. It's new, it's 1 bill, and you can stay connected in more than 1 location.
For more information, visit paratus.africa/NA.
Always prepared. Paratus.
Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Let's get into your story of the day. Yolanda now talks to the city of Windhoek about closing the standpipes after providing free water to residents in informal settlements for 2 years. Have a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Yolanda Nowell. The city of Windhoek announced earlier in March that it will close the 1,310 water taps that was given to the residents of these areas free of charge for the past 2 years. The city of Windhoek has spent 90 million Namibian dollars of water that was offered free of charge during the COVID-19 pandemic from March 2020 to residents living in the informal settlements. The city of Windhoek announced on 18 March that they are in the process of closing these taps and that the residents will need to use their water tokens and buy water again. According to the spokesperson of the city, Lydia Amutenya, there are 35,502 registered token holders in the area. Residents had access to 1,310 community taps during the past year to get water. When broken down, the cost of water used per household amounts to 105 Namibian dollars per month, but the city noticed a massive increase in water usage since the water was offered free of charge. According to Amatenya, the consumption was 33,000 cubic meters per month, but it has more than doubled to 69,800 cubic meters per month. Some residents, still filling up their containers on Monday and making use of the free water, was not aware that the city of Windhoek is in the process of closing the water. One resident is thankful that the city did offer the water free of charge during the pandemic, but it will place a financial burden on her family once they have to pay for water again. She has to walk about 1 kilometer to her nearest water stand and fills a 20-liter can 3 times a week for her family of 4. This includes 1 adult and 3 children. When asked if free water is the solution for better living conditions, Amutenya said that there are other factors pertaining to better living conditions. However, anything free will help those without means of survival, and she added that unfortunately it is not sustainable to provide free water because someone has to foot the bill for the cost of the service from the bulk service provider, and thus consumed services must be paid for sustainability. According to the municipal notice, the supply of free water has caused a financial burden to council, and it resolved to stop the supply of free water and reinstate the prepaid water system. Those who lost their tokens should buy new ones from their nearest municipal office.
We will certainly be keenly following that development. Now, in economic news tonight, we look at the effects COVID had on employment as well as the indicators. Stay with Sunset News. Let's get into your economic news. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic had devastating social and economic effects, leading to job losses, increased expenditure, and high debt levels. Throughout the pandemic, March 2020 to date, about 15,000 retrenchments took place, while about 4,016 Namibians died, according to Simone Storm. Most retrenchments occurred in the accommodation, wholesale, and retail and mining sectors. This means that for every one COVID-19 death, there were almost 4 individuals who lost their jobs. Let's have a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar lost ground against the British pound and the euro and stayed the same against the Chinese yuan. It did, however, strengthen against the US dollar. Very little movement has been reported on the Namibian Stock Exchange, with First Rand and Namibian Breweries being the most expensive stocks. SNB and Trustco stocks are up. The local index strengthened with 0.06% and the overall index strengthened with 0.965 points. On the commodities markets, gold, copper, and zinc are down, while Brent crude oil is up by 1.3%. After the break, we take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Let's get into your weather forecast. The northwest as well as center north will be very hot at 35 degrees, while the capital will be 17 degrees and 27 degrees respectively. Cloudy conditions are still predicted for the central coastal areas, and Mariento at 35 degrees will be the hottest in the south. Now in international news, after the break, we look at elections in Zimbabwe and a media ban in Russia. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Now, in the first of your international news stories, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa's ruling ZANU-PF party suffered a heavy defeat to a newly formed opposition party in parliamentary and municipal by-elections held in several constituencies countrywide over the weekend. Nelson Chamisa's Citizens Coalition for Change party cruised to a victory in 19 parliamentary constituencies out of the 28 contested, with ZANU-PF grabbing the remainder, including 2 that were previously controlled by the opposition, according to results announced by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. The CCC also claimed 61% of the vote in local government elections in several urban and rural municipalities. The seats fell vacant after a faction of the Movement for Democratic of Change Alliance, led by Senator Douglas Monzora, recalled several legislators and councillors following a Supreme Court ruling delivered last year. Fadzai Mahere, the spokesperson of Chamisa's newly formed party, told Daily Maverick that her party was ecstatic after it trounced Mnangagwa's party and the political formation that recalled opposition legislators and councillors. We now move over to Russia. Russia's communications watchdog told Russian media on Sunday to refrain from reporting on an interview done with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and said it had started to probe into the outlets which had interviewed the Ukrainian leader. In a short statement distributed by the watchdog on social media and posted on its website, it said a host of Russian outlets had done an interview with Zelensky. Roskomnadzor warns the Russian media about the necessity of refraining from publishing this interview. It said it did not give a reason for its warning. Russian prosecutors said a legal opinion would be made on the statements made in the interview and on the legality of publishing the interview. Zelensky spoke to several Russian publications. Now, after the break in sports news, we look at boxing, rugby, and athletics. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Let's get into your sports stories. Namibia's Jeremiah Nakatila beat his Mexican rival Miguel Berchelt in a 6th round knockout in their lightweight bout stages in Las Vegas Sunday morning. Now, Namibia's under-20 team beat UNAM 31-26 in a friendly match at the UNAM Stadium in Windhoek on Saturday. This result greatly pleased Crisanda Botha, the coach. And of course, we'll be talking about Namibian sprint sensations Christine Boma and Beatrice Masilingi, who are in Oregon in the United States of America to compete in preparation events as the athletics calendar intensifies. Stay with us. After the break, we have today's highlights. Thank you for staying with Sunset News. Now, if you perhaps missed the top of the show, here are some of the highlights. Investors in a pyramid scheme currently find themselves in limbo after the Bank of Namibia froze assets to the tune of approximately 10 million Namibian dollars last Friday. The central bank was able to secure a judgment in its favor through High Court Judge Marlene Tomasi. Health Minister Kalumbi Shangula said Namibia has made great strides in addressing tuberculosis as a public health concern, reaching treatment success rates of 88% in 2021. He made the remarks during the commemoration of the World Tuberculosis Day at Onayena in Oshikoto region on Friday. The head of Namibian Police K9 Training Subdivision, Chief Inspector Felix Munyanya, says their working dogs have been involved in a number of successful operations over the years. NAMPO's K9 unit has been in existence since independence and has 29 working dogs countrywide. They are employed in either the Drug Law Enforcement Unit, Explosive Control Division, or in tracking and patrolling. And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook, on all the NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, oneup2.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 94 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Ashwin Berry. This has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.